Digital citizenship and ethical use of technology in the classroom. Online privacy. Being a responsible digital citizen means that all individuals are able to use technology ethically, responsibly, and effectively. Being able to protect important information on the internet. Schools have guidelines and send out forms for parents to fill out at the beginning of each school year. For example, schools send out forms that allow a parent to say if they wish for their child to be included in pictures on Facebook or in magazines. Acceptable use policies in the public schools. School policies lay out what is to be expected of a student, such as a dress code policy, attendance policy, no bullying policy, cell phone policy, student discipline policy. Students continue to push the envelope when it comes to how they are dressed. There are so many distractions that a student can cause by how they dress. Like many of these policies, they need to be updated yearly, and the community in which the school is located can influence what is and is not appropriate. For example, last year a student came to school wearing bright lime green contact lenses. It was a major distraction for the other students, and so we had to ask him to remove them. It wasn't something that we had dealt with before, but we adjusted and added it to our handbook for this year. Attendance policy. Missing a lot of class can create huge holes that can lead to academic failure. The average school year in the United States is 170 days. A student who misses on average of 10 days a year, beginning in kindergarten through 12th grade, will miss 140 days of school. That adds up to almost an entire school year that they have missed. Looking at it from that perspective, attendance becomes increasingly important, and without a solid attendance policy, it is virtually impossible to deal with. Tardies are equally important because a student who is late time after time is essentially playing catch up every day they're late. It's never been more important to have an effective bullying policy. Students across the globe are affected by bullying every single day. The number of bullying incidents only continues to increase each year. We hear all too often about students dropping out of school or even taking their lives because of bullying. Schools have to make bullying prevention and education a top priority. This starts with a strong bullying policy. If you haven't got an anti-bullying policy or it hasn't been updated in several years, it is time to address it. Cell phone policy. Cell phones are a hot topic among school administrators. Over the last 15 years, phones in the classroom have caused more and more problems. With that being said, they can also be a valuable educational tool, and in a catastrophic situation, they can save lives. Schools must evaluate their cell phone policies and figure out what will work best for their setting. Students need to have a list of all the possible consequences if they make a poor choice. This list will also assist you in trying to figure out how to deal with a particular situation. Being fair is very important as you make disciplined decisions, but many factors go into that situation. If your students are educated on the possible consequences and have access to those in their handbook, they cannot tell you that they didn't know that or that it isn't fair. Cheating and plagiarism in the classroom. Cheating is absolutely unacceptable in the classroom. There will be consequences if caught cheating. Plagiarism is cheating, but the difference is using someone else's work and taking credit for the work yourself. Most students cheat in the classroom because they want good grades but don't want to do the work. They cheat just enough to maintain a self-concept as an honest person. They make their behavior an exception to a general rule. Some ways to discourage students to cheat is by making the students show their work. If students show their work, you can most definitely tell when a student is cheating off of another student. Teachers can do side-by-side grading. If the students worked in a group, their content may be the same, but direct copying will be more noticeable. Don't allow cell phones in the classroom. Although cell phones can be helpful, most of the time, students use their cell phones to take pictures of the answers. So they don't have to study. They can just pull their cell phone out and look at the pictures they have taken. Nowadays, there are websites that you can run a student's paper through to see if a student is plagiarizing. Plagiarism is a form of theft, since it involves taking someone else's work or words and passing them off as your own. Consequences for cheating and plagiarism are major. If caught using plagiarism in a high school, it can lead to suspension or an automatic 0 on the assignment. In college, plagiarism can result in academic suspension. Cheating is bad. Cheating can also make a teacher not be able to trust you anymore. In elementary, it can make you be put in lunch detention, or it can make you go to the principal's office. Copyright laws. Educators are not excused from copyright laws. Teachers and students have certain rights to publicly display and perform copyrighted works in the classroom, and this comes from Section 110 of the U.S. Copyright Law. The fair use allows limited copying of copyrighted works without the permission of the owner for certain purposes, including teaching and research. That comes from Section 107 of U.S. Copyright Law. A single copy generally may be made of any of the following for teacher purposes: a chapter from a book, an article from a periodical or newspaper, a short story, short essay, or short poem, whether or not from a collective work, a chart, graph, diagram, cartoon, or picture from a book, periodical, or newspaper, multiple print or digital copies of articles, book chapters, or other works may be made for classroom use or discussion, provided that there is a clear connection between the work being copied and the instructor's purpose. The amount copied is tailored to include only what is appropriate for the instructor's specific educational goals. The access to works distributed online is provided only for the duration of the class for which they are provided, and limited to students enrolled in a course and other appropriate individuals. Each copy includes a full attribution in a form satisfactory to scholars in that field.